I would marry this lady again tomorrow. Not tonight. No,
Thank you.
tomorrow. I would marry you again tomorrow, honey.
Thank you, Mahal.
Yeah.
I'm very sleepy, sorry.
I
What's
know
it about?
I know you're very sleepy,
What's
but
it
I'm
about?
looking at my 1001 smartest things ever said.
You're already smart.
I'm not smart. I'm not so smart that I can't look in this book and wonder how I could be so dumb.
What's about, what did you read last?
Right. The best portion of a good man's life is his little, nameless, unremembered acts of kindness and love. What would you say to that?
It means that the best portion of a good man's life is his little, nameless, unremembered act of kindness and love.
Wow,
So,
how did you work that out, darling?
it's difficult, you know?
You know that William Wordsworth agrees with you, you know.
It's difficult. Everybody, you know, as far as as in my own opinion, everybody, despite of what kind of person you are, there's a kindness in your heart, you know, because every one of us, there's a heart.
Yes, everybody's got a heart.
Everybody has a heart, and once that heart is blinking, it means you have love.
It's blinking.
I'm very sleepy, darling. Sorry.
Now that you've interrupted
Because
me, you're going to have to look at a few of these quotes. Look at this one. This was by T.S. Eliot, who also was quite clever. The years between 50 and 70 are the hardest. Yes, I'll go along with that. You are always being asked to do things, and yet you are not decrepit enough to turn them down. Do you know what decrepit means, darling?
I don't know. Decrease?
Yeah. Decrepit.
I don't know. Not enough?
Well, it means that you're decaying at an alarming rate.
Because
in the case of 50 to 70.
Yeah, because 50 and the 70 is the start of when you're gonna die.
I wondered if we would get round to that. Are we up on the insurance policy?
Yeah.
We are. We are.
Yeah. You're always being asked to do things. So in other words, it's the years between 50 and 70 are the hardest. My brain is not working. I'm very sleepy. That 101 quote become 101. Not thinking.
All right. What about this one? This one is.
Last one, okay.
This one is. Men are like wine. Some turn to vinegar, but the best improve with age.
In other words, as time goes by, a man will be more responsible, will be more a good person based through his experience as time passing by.
Well, that's
right?
the best. What about the others? What about the others that turn to vinegar?
Sometimes, because sometimes there are also others that turn into wrong directions because of some experiences that they didn't able to handle very well.
Right.
You know, that's why it seems like vinegar is getting very sour. Sour? I need.
Well, what about this one? What about this one?
Baby,
You coward, get back here.
I'm very sleepy.
Right. Grow old along with me. The best is yet to come.
In other words, the best things in our life is not yet happened. Just stay tuned and it will happen. Right?
Okay. All right. I'll let you off with that one. But you've got another one here. Come on,
I'm
honey.
very sleepy.
But we only did 5 and there's 1,001.
No. It's only good for intelligent person. That book.
This one by George Bernard Shaw. Listen to this. The only man who behaves sensibly is my tailor. He takes my measure every time he sees me, while all the rest go on with their old measurements and expect them to fit me. So in other words, we're changing. The only thing that's never different, and that is the element of change, and how we actually are becoming different people all the time, and knowing what kind of person we're turning into is that's the smartest thing that you can attend to. You know, we live in the mountains, and actually they're not, as I always say, they're not the Eiger sanction, okay? They're not Mount Everest. It's not the North Face. It's not clinging to sheer rock or anything like that. It's just that as you climb into the hills, they become mountains by definition, and some of them are mountains, and some of them are just hills. Well, you know that thing about molehills. Don't make molehills into mountains. So the big skill in life is to be aware that there are mountains and there are just little hills. And the big thing, we've got bugs flying around, and the big thing is to be able to focus enough to be able to see which are the mountains and which are the molehills. I got plenty of people who think they're mountains, but actually they're molehills, but that's just another way of looking at it. Let's look at this. Don't hurry, don't worry. You're here for a short visit, so be sure to stop and smell the flowers. That was Walter Hagen. Walter Hagen. A lot of these people I never heard of. A lot more of them I have heard of, but never really read their work. And a lot of them I can't even pronounce their name. So those I tend to leave alone. See, this one was by Betty Davis. Betty Davis, the Hollywood movie star. Old age ain't no place for sissies. Now that I can tell you is true. Live as long as you can, die when you can't help it. Well, that's true. And one thing that I've learned is you might just as well be yourself. Now this is the real skill. I think you need to go through all of those voices in your head. Now my experience is that you are constantly, you don't have to be a nutcase either to be this way. You're constantly hearing voices which make statements in your head, and they apply to all of the situations that you go through in life. On a daily basis, there are plenty of opinions being stated in your head that actually don't belong to you. So everybody thinks that the thoughts that are in their head are their own. I don't believe that all of the thoughts that you are thinking are yours. I don't believe it. When you hear a statement that has been made to you by someone else, in remembering it, it's as if you are playing energy over that statement, and in doing it, you're giving it life. I actually met someone once who had been badly abused by her former partner, and apparently the man was a very vocal and very articulate in his criticisms, and he was also very malicious and said some terrible things about this woman. She remembered all of those things, and as we were talking, we went into that bad state whenever you're talking to someone new of doing the sad stories. Oh, there's nothing worse than doing the sad stories. But anyway, she told me what he had said about her. Well, he had said this, and then when she told me that, she said, and another thing that he said that I couldn't do, and then he said I always did this, and that I was no good at that, and that I was even worse at the other, and she went on and she repeated all of those phrases that that man had burned into her mind. And they were still there. They were there with his voice. Now, she didn't do impersonations, so she just told me the things that he had said in her voice. But she was going from memory, and she was seeing, however you want to view what you see in your mind and what you hear in your mind, however you want to view that, she was repeating what he had put in there. And I can remember saying to her, well, he did quite a job on you, didn't he? And she said, yes, he did. And I said, and now you are continuing to do that job for him. And she hadn't really thought about it that way before. So I said, this might be a good thing that you might consider. Don't tell his stories again, anymore. Never again. Don't do it. And she thought that was a good idea. And during the course of knowing her, she actually benefited from that. Now this is why, follow me in my thinking on this. This is why you should choose your friends very carefully, because if you spend time with people who are articulate and intelligent and vocal and malicious, like this lady's ex-friend was, you will receive a lot of things which you can later somehow compulsively tell other people that was said about you. So if you're with somebody for any length of time during the day, over an hour, and they're spewing this kind of, let's face it, poison, it seems to be an act of human nature. You're going to repeat that. So evidently, you must choose your friends very carefully. I remember meeting someone for the first time when we were in the initial parts of exchanging this story and that story. He said, I'm an arsehole. And he said that in a kind of a proud way. Many, many months later, I realized that I should have walked away at that point, because if someone is declaring that they're a bad enemy, that they don't play clean, that they will hurt you if they get the chance, then it's a good thing to leave them. Don't stay. Now, going back to the first thing about how we have these sayings in our mind, that we have these they're like little recurring loops of tapes. Remember in the old days when there were DJs, actually they may still do this, when they were on a radio show and they would play records and they would do a little bit of chat and on, they would usually have a little tape that they put in that had a loop on it, just kept playing over and over and over and over. And it would, maybe it would have a little kid laughing, maybe it would have a little saying that they, I don't know, said, oh, very cool, man, oh, right on, I got you now. And when they had a gap in their thinking, they stuck the tape in and it said, oh yeah, cool, man. And for that, just that brief second, they could think about something else to say. And that's what they did. That's what these little sayings are, which we all punish ourselves with. So here's what you can do. You get a notepad and a pen, and you pick out the first thing that you find yourself saying. Oh, cool, man. And you write it down. And who did that belong to? Oh, well, that belonged to Joe. And then you work out what the next one is. That's what people are like, you know, you can't trust them. Write it down. Who said that? No, that's not what you think. Who said it? Well, that was Sid. Write it down. Sid. And then you write down the next one. Do you know, you can't trust people. Write it down. You can't trust people. Was that yours? No. Do you believe you can't trust people? No. Sometimes they can't be trusted. Of course, it's true. But who said that constantly? Write it down. Harry. Write it down. There's Harry's. And you continue doing this. I knew someone whose favourite saying was, people suck. Write it down. When you've written them all down, as many as you can possibly remember, the thoughts that you find yourself thinking are probably yours. So you can own those, and you can take ownership, and you can take responsibility for them. And if you want to change them, you can do that too. But I've been talking too long. I got away from the smartest things that people say to what I would tend to find myself saying. I hope they help. This is a foreigner in the Philippines. Why not wish you a Merry Christmas? Bye for now.